Okay. Everyone, this is one of our last portions today before we do the raffle ticket drawing and wrap up our day. Hard to believe that it's coming to an end. It's just been such a wonderful, fruitful day. I have a lot that I can't wait to go home and chew on and think on and all the things I heard. But I am honored to introduce Mr. Kerry Johnston. He is the president of the board of directors for Colby, and he is also one of the Dallas core members. Did I get all that right? So I'm going to invite him up here to talk a little bit more about Colby Prison Ministry in general. Welcome, Mr. Kerry Johnston.
All right. We haven't done this part of the conference before, but we talked about it and thought it would really be good to have you all get a chance to learn more about the organization and the inner workings of the organization from a board standpoint. And so we put this together so that we can do a little overview. Each part will do a little bit of an overview of what it is that we do at the board level. About a year and a half ago, we did a reorganization of the board of directors itself. We've got 15 members of the board, and in order for us to be more effective, more responsible, more committed to our mission, to the things that we needed to do, that we went ahead and we created separate committees and have leaders for those committees who will be coming up here in just a minute to talk about the work that they do and what's involved there. But you can see, when I hit the button, that we have 6 committees now, originally 5, and now 6. We have the governance committee, we have missions, we have core teams, we have formation, we have communications and development, and resources management. And they all cover the key areas that a board typically does, just divided into these specific areas. And the leaders of those boards will step up here in just a minute to discuss what those committees do. We have done this now for about a year and a half. We found that it's really given us a much better way to be effective, to be responsible for the duties that we have. Before having had this change, this creation of these committees, it was a little bit uncertain exactly who was going to be doing what on the board, and now we know exactly what we need to do. So first off, we're going to go ahead and bring up the governance committee. Turn it over to Gerald.
Thank you, boss. Thank you, Kerry. God bless you. So the governance committee, there's actually more than just me. My name is Gerald Ganslin, and I'm from San Antonio, and have been involved with Colby for a while. But I really want to focus on what we do in this governance committee. And I think with the governance committee, just like all the rest of the committees, we're looking for help. So if you see anything in any of these committees that actually sparks an interest in you and you say, hey, I could help with that, just let us know and we'll be happy to talk to you about it. But the governance committee, the key functions that we have is to review and oversight of all of the committees that work for Colby, in addition to the legal and financial matters of the organization. In addition to that, we're responsible for strategic planning, and that includes programming and long-term strategic plans. So we get input from all of the committees in building a strategic plan for 3 years in advance. So we're looking out 3 years in our plans. Colby is governed by its bylaws and statutes. The bylaws are the operational rules adopted by Colby to govern its civil and internal affairs. There have been 2 updates in the bylaws since the organization was incorporated in 2014. Colby is a pro bono client of a law firm in San Antonio called Haynes and Boone, and we work with one of the partners named Bill Nash. The statutes are the formal rules as agreed on by the Archdiocese of San Antonio and in conjunction with Colby Prison Ministries. Colby is recognized as an apostolate of the Archdiocese of San Antonio and accepted by the USCCB as an asterisk organization in the official Catholic directory, which started in 2022. The statutes that we have were updated last year. The committee is also responsible for filing and maintaining our 501c3 status in each state where we operate. So typically, Colby is required to have a person of record for each state where we operate, and we file with the Secretary of State in each state so that we can operate as a nonprofit organization. Each year we have to refile with each of those states to keep our status as a nonprofit organization. And as we go through these things, it gets more and more that we keep up every year. As a corporation, we operate in the state of Texas, where we also maintain our articles of incorporation through the state. Each state has a different requirement in the filings, but it's just something else that the governance committee keeps up with. Each of the committees is responsible for creating organizational guidelines and other pertinent documents to support their functionality and sustain their strategic goals. The governance committee is responsible for maintaining all Colby documents and reviewing the documents as needed by legal or diocesan counsel. We also maintain the D&O insurance and conference insurance as needed. The financial requirements of the organization are budgeted based on history and input through each of the different committees that we have. Colby keeps a 3-year strategic plan running, so we update this annually and actually then budget for the coming years. So that's pretty much what our governance committee is responsible for.
I'm Val Browning, member of the board and the president of the Veterans Core team. I'm part of the mission committee. Our objective is to identify new areas of expansion for Colby Prison Ministries. When we have inquiries, the first step is we contact the diocesan office to get permission from the bishop. Without that permission, we can't go anywhere. And so we seek that. Once we get that, then we'll talk to individuals who are inquiring. The first step after getting that is we identify key individuals in that diocese to set up a free core, start getting things organized for their diocese. And then we invite those individuals to a retreat so they get the team on a Colby retreat and really experience what it's about. We're a firm believer that by them doing that, they're getting skin in the game, and it really helps them understand what it is we do. And then once they get to that step, we set up a retreat in their diocese at one of their correctional facilities. And someone from the mission committee will be the director of that retreat. And put together a team of experienced individuals to go and help them get started. And once they do their first retreat, then they have a form they sign off on acknowledging the responsibilities of the core team, turn that in, at which point we hand off that group to the core committee, which I'm also a member of. So I wear dual hats there. But we have a lot of inquiries on the books right now. I'm the point person for Lafayette, Mississippi, and somehow or another I got Alabama, but I'm trying to hand that off to Andy. But we do receive a lot of inquiries about, you know, how we come to their sites, but you know, it's not an easy process. It takes a little work, and they have to be willing to put a little skin in the game to get us there. And we did this over the last 18 months here in Baton Rouge. I understand what it takes, and you know, it's not easy, but the reward is huge. So now I'll hand it off to Danny, who's over the core committee.
Yeah, my name is Daniel Reyes. I live in Lake Charles, Louisiana. I was privileged to be a part of the first mission that came from Texas into the state of Louisiana. Like I say, the first one outside of the state of Texas. So we went from Beaumont into Lake Charles, and then once we got that started, that was in 2018, and now we're in 5 states. It is growing like leaps and bounds, as Val mentioned. Our core team committee is the primary liaison from the core teams that are being formed, and even those that are still functioning that might be struggling. Our committee is their primary source of coming back to the board. They hear from me quite often, and I say that through the presidents of those committees. So after that initial mission retreat, they start to form, like Val had mentioned, what we call a pre-core or a skeleton core. We want at least 3 or 4, particularly into the officer's role, president, secretary, and treasurer, to get that started, and then maybe even a vice president. But once they get that mission retreat in, we want them to quickly start to recruit and to gain and to bring in others into what they call our core team. And we recommend anywhere between 7 and 15 of them. And we want them to be as diverse as the facilities that they're going to serve. Whether it's men or women, we'd like to see that split about the same. We also ensure that we give them copies of all of our governing documents. And if any of y'all have been out on the website, you can probably look at that, and probably after about 5 minutes, you kind of go out glass-eyed over it, because there's a lot of material out there. And sometimes it can be a little bit daunting, but our team will reach out to them to look at the highlights on where they're at in this journey, to try to navigate them through the things that are the most important. Taking care of the first things first and not worry about some of the other things. So we guide them through 14 operating diagrams. We get them through the handbook. All these basic things that we feel is essential to keeping Kobe. Now, what do I mean by that? Without having these governing documents and making sure that we are governing ourselves and ensuring that the retreats that we're doing are adhering to the standard, after the 15th or the 20th, we just inherently want to make things better. We'll have directors that want to make it better. We've done this too long, surely we've got to make it better. But we got to remind them each time we get another team together. Yes, we've been on many of them, but our retreatants have only seen it for the first time. So it really doesn't matter what you're doing to make it better. We want to ensure that we're keeping the standards, so that way that does not change. And then, of course, then we get out of the way and let the Holy Spirit do the rest. Sharing best practices. So we've started to reach out to these corps that have been doing this for a while, and those, not necessarily for a while, we just know that there's some that are doing some great things out there because of the way they're expanding it so quickly. We're trying to gather those best practices so we can share those with those teams that are just starting out. And there's about four teams right now that we're working closely with. We're helping them navigate through this initial startup. Like I said, it can be a little bit daunting. But once they get through there and then they start to get a couple of retreats under their belt, then they will go off and they'll be able to take those best practices and maybe share them back with us. And also, when I say sharing the struggles and successes, just because you've been doing this since 2009 or 10 doesn't mean that you're not struggling. Many people that we're drawing from are from the Acts community, and as Acts begins to maybe wane in some of our areas, then that recruiting pool becomes a little bit thinner. So we have to come up with ways on what kind of strategy are we going to develop to try to help these corps that have been well established to make sure that they're finding ways of recruiting new volunteers. So the good news is we've recruited a person. The bad news is now we've got to retain them. So we've got to make sure that we're giving them the opportunity to grow and to keep them well informed. And then lastly, I'll close with this. There are some administrative stuff that we reach out to the core teams for, such as an annual report, and I think Kathleen was handing a copy of those out. If you haven't seen it, you can take a look at it. It's done very well, but we have to reach out to those presidents of those corps to give us the highlights of what they've accomplished throughout that year so we can publish them. And then we also follow up with the treasurers to make sure that we're making sure that the finances are being reported for those that are reporting in through the board so that we can prepare our IRS filing for that year. Okay.
Hello, I'm Kathleen McDonald-Tom, and yes, I'm on the board of directors of all these wonderful men. It's a ton of brothers. Who knew I had so many brothers? I want to give you a little highlight about the ongoing formation committee. Many of you know it's a priority for Colby to continue the faith journey of these men. Preferably, it's already started before we go in with the retreat, but more importantly, that we continue that conversion opportunity and growing a deeper relationship with Jesus with the highlight of learning the beauty and the truth of the Catholic Church. So this leads to many other opportunities. So the first commitment as part of the ongoing faith formation is to support the follow-up volunteers, those that go in, maybe doing a book study, a Bible study, or even light apologetics, something that may lead them to the OCIA process. We also serve to coordinate bidirectional support between Colby Prison Ministries and the diocese. And by doing that, this committee has representatives from each diocese that can help communicate what their challenges are as far as formation, if there's hurdles because of the Department of Corrections, things like that, and how we can best try to overcome some of those things. And it can come as easy as, for example, in Texas, we have a great video-based instruction that we were going to use because often our inmates in the middle of the OCIA process would catch chain. And in normal terms, that means they get transferred before they can celebrate their sacraments. So we, with the help of the Texas Conference of Catholic Bishops, the entire group made it consistent across every diocese that that particular faith-based instruction could be used to supplement the process, and then would not have to start over again, and they could go ahead and celebrate their sacraments with the support of that diocese. So there's a lot of great things that we do by keeping that line of communication open. Another thing that you find that's sticking your head in is supporting the efforts of the missioning and the core team volunteers by establishing faith formation in the prisons. Sometimes we do this before the mission team ever gets there. So for example, California or Utah, these places that are communicating with the mission team saying we want Colby to come in, but they're not have all the parts. Maybe the bishop said yes, but we still have to get approval from the department or the state. We can help by providing them ongoing best practices of how to start faith formation with their volunteers, whether it's just something as basic as Mass and confession every week or every month. So we help them have an idea of how to recruit for that if they don't already have their volunteers in there. We have those best practices identified. One thing that comes with that beauty is that a lot of these different apologetics groups come to us and they have, maybe it's a video-based instruction. Y'all might be familiar with That Man Is You, Fulton Sheen, things like that. Those apologetics groups have given us permission to use their product for free. And so we can publish that. We give you the faith contact for the confirmation and the contact, and they can get it implemented in your prison. Not just your diocese, but your actual unit. So it helps you and your volunteers who are looking for their next steps for their inmates. Another thing that we are really becoming more involved with, as most of you know, your inmates have access, with the exception of 3 states, Securus tablets. The Securus tablets are a way to communicate with the inmate. The inmate can talk with their families, they can study, they use them for videos and entertainment. They also have video conferencing with families, but more importantly from our perspective, it gives them use of applications like Edovo, I spell that E-D-O-V-O, Pando, and Shalom Media, several different applications that host Catholic content. Many inmates don't know that it's there, so we have to communicate that to the actual volunteers going in and help them to help the inmate locate the Catholic content. So, for example, in Edovo, you won't know that Hallow is on there. Hallow, for a lot of Catholics, is a wonderful application. They're loading things at their cost onto that Edovo app so that they can have some things like, I would say, well, the Divine Office is there, but any kind of reflection, different rosaries, different type of meditations, and things you find on Edovo. There's many other companies that are communicating with us that are trying to get their content on that Securus app. And so we're sort of aggregating the knowledge that they've been given of what's available so that we can pass it on to the volunteer that's actually going into the unit. Not just the retreat volunteers, but the volunteers that follow up with us after the retreat. Also, we coordinate with the Resource Management Committee to fulfill a request because a lot of the publication houses have to go to reprint on some of their publications. For example, Ascension Press, everybody's quite familiar with the Bible Timeline or the Adventure Bible Timeline. They also have subsequent publications, podcasts, things of that nature that they want to make available to prisons. If there is a particular group, we'll try to tell you who to contact to get a discount for a product. If it's not something that we have on hand that's been donated to us, there could be a discount in place, even in some cases free content. So we try to be a resource for you for that as well. All of that information is under the ongoing information guide, and that will be released on the website here very shortly, probably within a week. So hopefully if you have any other questions, you have a way to reach out to me or anybody on the committee through your diocesan contact, which usually is the heading of like a prison ministry coordinator for your diocese. That person also reaches out to me. So let us know if there's anything else we can do for you. We're happy to help. Thank you.
Need my stuff here.
We have a timer up here to kind of keep us on track, and Jim was just saying he's going to be watching my timer. Thank you very much, Jim.
I'll just set these down here and drop them too. Can you reset that timer, please?
No? There. Speak quickly. Okay. I'm the lead for the Communications and Development Committee. Two long names, and it's got two primary different functions. I'm also the webmaster for Colby at this point in time. Gerald Villiver over here is also with that committee and with the website. So the first part of the communications side of this committee, website, social media, digital communications, and digital storage. So we have the first element being the digital platform, the website. That was originally created about 10 years ago. It was redesigned in 2017. And when that was redesigned, the plan there was to make it more user-friendly, better navigation, especially with regard to getting to photos and calendar events and protected content, the private pages. And hopefully a lot of you have logged in, that have the password logged into the private pages, and that's where all the really guts of the information are that are pertinent to the core leaders. As I mentioned earlier in this event, that a suggestion box was added to the website. And so we're looking forward to hearing from you if you've got some ideas on how we could improve Colby, the organization, the training, the whatever. We'd certainly like to hear from you. We can't do this by ourselves. We have a very small team, as mentioned before. We got 15 members of this board of directors, and we have the former board of directors still around there helping. But really, it's a very small group, so we need your input. The second element, communication side, is social media. And so KPM is very active on social media platforms, including Facebook, YouTube, X, and Instagram to a certain degree. We try to post new information on the Facebook page at least once a week. And the YouTube channel contains about 50 videos at this point in time. Most of those videos are of the speakers at our annual conferences. So if you ever are interested in looking into what some of the other speakers have said at previous conferences, also the speakers at this conference, the videos will be posted on our YouTube channel and connected, linked to the website, and that'll be done probably in the next week or so. The third element of digital communications is that we send out email blasts through our MailChimp contact platform and keep a listing of all the individuals who've done retreats, all that have signed up through the subscription form on the website so they can become a contact. Right now we have about 3,000 contacts in our mailing list, and it is segmented by state, by gender, by goals such as core teams, so we can send out to individual core, or the total core teams when we need to, or to the males, females, whatever. The fourth digital element is a Google Drive. So when you get to the private pages on our website, those that have access, again, we're talking about the 14 leaders for the most part getting in. We have a lot of information there. And so, as Daniel had mentioned, we have a huge assortment of guidance materials, and it's growing, and it is probably in need of some updating in some cases. But take a look, there's a lot there. So if you're going to be involved in leading retreats, just want to learn more about the organization or how it works, there's a whole variety of things out there. in particular for retreat directors. All right, and the other things that we do on the communication side, we're involved in PR and external communications. So we're responsible as a committee for dealing with public relations, outside external communications, and it's something that we need to be focusing more on. We probably need a lot of help in that area. And I'll mention that in just a minute. We also responsible for connecting with Catholic media organizations, not just a general PR, but focused with the Catholic media so that we can get the word out on what Colby is going up to, and what we, for these kinds of events, and for just letting them know about what Colby is in total. And I see that my time is up, but since I'm the president, I can go on. So. don't tell the rest of them that I said that. Okay, thank you. All right. The other thing that we have to do is we have data maintenance and statistics, and that's something I'd be more than happy to hand off to anybody that wants to raise their hand. But it's very, very important. So we have statistics on our retreats that go back to 2009. And in doing so, that has really helped us in a number of ways. Number one, it's kind of information that donors or foundations that are looking to fund us really want to know something about our history. I'll give you a little bit of an example here with the statistics. The number of retreats we've had in Colby to date is over 460. And we've had a total of over 11,000 volunteers. And that volunteer statistics started in 2004, so we don't have those going back further, but as of the beginning of last year, in totaling up unique individual volunteers, it's over 11,000 right now. Total number of retreatants is over 21,000, and we have a lot of other pertinent statistics that are being kept. And it's been helpful to have those statistics. For example, using those statistics from the Briscoe unit in South Texas, where we had about 1,000 retreatants over time from 2012 forward, the Texas Department of Criminal Justice, TDCJ, did a study at a request of a friend over here, Jim, to do a recidivism study to see what the effect of Colby Prison Ministries is with regard to recidivism. The recidivism rate for the state of Texas, on average, what they published in pre-COVID years was about 20%. During COVID years, it got all kind of crazy because of the delays in the court system and you name it. So it's really hard to use those stats. But if you look at the statistics, clean statistics from 2012 to 2019 for South Texas, that one unit, the recidivism rate statewide is about 20%. Recidivism rate for those Colby retreatants is 11.5%. So we had, almost a 50% drop in the recidivism rate for those retreats that we had go through our program. We know that there are some other things that affect the recidivism numbers, but the TDCJ had admitted that they could see statistically that Colby Prison Ministries is making a tremendous difference. The other thing that we do is fundraising and grant writing. And we have been able to raise over $65,000 to date about the last 24 months. And that's an area that's still under development. I see a lot of people raising their hand who want to help with that, so thank you in advance. And the other thing we need to do along the same lines is we need to go ahead and keep track of the donors and do the report to the granting foundations and so on, and that is something that's new for us because we've only started this specific fundraising process in the last 12 months or so. So we keep saying it, we need a lot of help. And in that regard, I took the opportunity, make it easy for you guys, I took the opportunity to go ahead and create some volunteer job descriptions. So if you're at all interested in social media assistant, I have this. Fundraising research assistant. I have a job description for you. Assistant webmaster. Ooh, that's a good one. There you go. And then finally, this is what I have today. A content creator or editor. So basically, when we're looking at what we have you to put on social media or trying to write articles to have published by the Catholic media, for the most part, they want us to create, send it to them, they can tweak it or whatever, but we need individuals to help us on that front. There's a lot that can be done. So if you've heard anything from any of us so far, and then Jim is going to be coming up in a second, you've heard anything that fits with you, let us know. We need help. It's not just, on these committees, it's not just board members. It is also individuals that are outside the board that have the skills, the desire, even if they don't have the specific skill right now, to go ahead and learn as you go in helping us. So appreciate you thinking about that, and I will turn it over to Jim.
Thanks, Dave. Do you need your, Mr. President, your job descriptions? Yeah, you will take this number. Yeah.
Well, good afternoon. I understand I am the person between you and the drawing for the door prizes. So I'll try to be quick. First off, and I do want to take a little privilege here, but as you may have gathered from hearing these individuals talk preceding me, that this is a working board. I mean, these are the people that are in the prisons. They're doing the retreats. They're doing the formation. They're writing the grants. They're making the videos that they specifically requested. And very successful at that. And I would just encourage you all to join in their efforts. But I do want to recognize each of you for the roles that you do play. And I think John Paul talks about, packing the parachutes. Everybody's involved here to some degree, and it's all appreciated. So the harvest is abundant, but the laborers are few. So we would love to have some more hands helping. But I do want to recognize two individuals. As you've heard, Colby's been around for a number of years, and it's grown tremendously. But there are individuals who are here from the very beginning who continue to be involved. And I just want to recognize them and thank them for their service. And so if I can prevail upon Jeremy Itz and Larry Ray to stand up and be recognized. Larry, I see you. Come on. Thank you, gentlemen. Now, notice I didn't call it like old timers or old, because that would be inappropriate. True, but inappropriate. But so our resource committee is our newest committee. And as you may understand, and you've heard from the books being displayed here, our job is managing those resources and getting them out to you, the core teams, and to the mission teams, to people doing formation, that sort of thing. And we started with a donation from Ascension Press of dozens of boxes. And then Kathleen found the people at Paulus Press, and they contacted me and said, we have some more materials to donate. I said, that sounds good. They go, we have 2,100 pounds of materials for you. I said, oh, that's fantastic. And they said, that's on the first pallet. We have 4 like that. Honest to God, 4 tons of materials, 32,000 publications. They said, yeah, you'll need a forklift for this. And so thank goodness to people like Carrie mentioned Joe Shea and Don Hartung step up in Dallas. Jerry Zeller and Andrea Arlotti step up here in Baton Rouge to house these. So we have 2 basic depots, one in Baton Rouge, one in Dallas, where these publications are housed. The one thing that's not been mentioned, and it may, it's not going to go without saying, so I'm going to say it, is that these are intended for prisons. These are not for your parishes, they're not for personal consumption. We're giving away so that we don't have to have the cost in the prisons. And so when you do order them, just know that's the one stipulation they've asked is, please make sure that if there's people that can buy them, that they do buy them. We all can afford, $10 for a book, but we need to get these into the systems. And so we have lots and lots of publications. So I encourage you to take a look at them if they're appropriate for your use or what you guys want to do in formation. Great. If they aren't, feel free to talk to us about how they might be used and when they would be practical. Some things are designed to be sequenced, some are standalone, some want to come before others. So we'll work with you on that sort of stuff. But they're there, they're free. All you have to do is pay the shipping and the handling. And if you can arrange to have it picked up in Baton Rouge or Dallas, then you can skip those costs as well. So that's what they're there for. The idea is to support your work, to keep your costs low, to keep you from having to be a fundraiser. We are going to take some new steps, as we've discussed here on the slide, to seek out additional donations, because a publisher, while they would love to talk to every one of our, I don't know how many core teams we have, but we'd rather talk to all the core team people, because they just talk to one person from the board to have materials donated, and then we will hand out, the publications out to the teams. And so we think we have a great opportunity to get both reduced pricing and outright donations of additional stuff. So if there are materials that you would like to use and haven't been using or want to use and can't afford, let us know. And we'll see if other people want to use those. We got to get some group discounting. So that's something we can really put together. And we really rely on our formation team, mission team, and our core teams to do that. But those of you who are spending time in the units and your own reading, tell us what you're finding out that you would like to see worthwhile. And Kathleen mentioned that I think there's a growing wave of this, the electronic media opportunities, things like inclusion that UC Gals and Dice has put out, which is incredible apologetics. It's free, it's online, we can put it on the tablets. We're going to be moving in a greater, stronger direction for the online type material presentation. So please do keep that in mind. Let me see if I'm missing any of my key notes. I have 2 seconds left, unless I invoke chairman's privilege, which I won't. But anyway, no, we appreciate your support very much. Thank you for a great conference. John, your team done a super job, so thank you.
All right, well, I guess it's a time that you all have been looking forward to, having to wait until now for this exciting moment where we're going to have our raffle drawing. So I guess take it away.